Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Spina Bifida Guide to Hope. Today I'm going to be talking about my tethered cord surgery recovery at home. Now, if you haven't already, please go and watch my previous video from last week where I talk about my tethered cord surgery, hospital stay, and I talk about the ride home. Now, branching off from where I ended my last video, I had mentioned that on my ride home from the hospital, I was in a lot of pain in my head, not my back, but my head from my spinal fluid being drained for surgery. Now, when I got home, again, like I said in my last video, I was very sensitive at first to light and also to sound. Pain in my head lasted for about a week after coming home. Now, when I got home, one major rule that I had to follow from my doctors was to not go up and down stairs. And my room is upstairs, so I had to be carried into my room. For about a month, I was on bed rest. The first, I want to say about a week or a week and a half, I did have to have cloth baths. So my mom or my grandmom would, wet a rag with soap and wipe me down. That was about for a week or maybe a week and a half. And also during that time, my bandages on my back from my surgery had to be changed every day, and my wound had to be clean. Now, after about 2 weeks of being on bed rest, my family started to notice this kind of bump on my incision where I had the surgery done on my back, and obviously it was cause for concern, so we contacted my doctor and they asked us questions and we sent pictures, and come to find out the reason for it was because I was elevating my legs with pillows as I was laying in bed, which I wasn't supposed to be doing, and I had to be laying flat. So once we learned information about that and the reason for it, I did start to lay completely flat on my bed. After 2 weeks had passed, I did start to feel like I was going to be able to walk a little bit and stand up, so I did try. I would walk back and forth from my room into the end of the hallway, and also I would be carried downstairs by a family member, and I would walk around our dining room table a couple times just to exercise my legs. During that time, when I started to really get my mobility back and start to exercise my legs by walking, I did feel this tightness in my legs. It was kind of like cramping and tightening, which was a bit uncomfortable, but it wasn't unbearable, and eventually that feeling did stop. Also, during my stay in the hospital and after in home recovery, I was still on gabapentin. They did have to up my dosage from 300 milligrams to 500 milligrams after my surgery to help me with any pain. I was on gabapentin 500 milligrams for the month of my bed rest, and then after my month of bed rest, they wanted me to start weaning off of the gabapentin. And you can't just cold turkey stop. They had told me I had to wean off very slowly, because if not, then I can potentially have a seizure. It took about 2 months after bed rest for me to completely wean off of the gabapentin. Now, during my home recovery, as I had said, I was confined to my room for a lot of the time because I could not use the stairs. That in itself kind of took an emotional toll on me because I started to feel a bit trapped and claustrophobic in my room. I have heard before from other people that recovery after surgery is the most difficult part of the whole process, and I fully agree and I fully understand that, because during this time that I was confined to my room, I did unfortunately have a emotional breakdown at one point, and I was very emotional one day and I just cried out of nowhere, and all these emotions came out, and I was telling my family that it was very hard for me to go through this process, and I was in that mindset of why me? Why does this have to happen to me? But after that, I did feel better. So it kind of, after that, made the process a little easier. So a month passed, and after the month, I went into physical therapy. I ended up having physical therapy for 6 months after my month of bed rest. For about 4 months in physical therapy, I was going twice a week for about an hour, and after the 4 months, the last 2 months, I was going once a week for a half hour to an hour. At physical therapy, the main goal was to get my leg strength back, which I did end up losing after not being able to really do anything too mobile for 5 years when I was having the tethered cord pain. I did work out my arms as well because I also lost strength in my hands and my arms from not being able to move very much. Physical therapy helped a lot. It really did allow me to gain my strength back for the most part. Not only was I doing the physical therapy at the place where I was going, but they also had me do home exercises about 3 times a week. I was supposed to continue that after physical therapy was done. After the 6 months, I was supposed to continue doing 3 times a week the exercises that they have given me to do at home. However, I ended up not doing that. I did find another way to do exercise, and that way is yoga. I am very comfortable with yoga. I try to still to this day do yoga about 3 times a week, and it's very helpful. When I kind of slack off and I don't do the yoga, I do find that my legs kind of get tense and I start having soreness in my legs. So I try my best to keep up with my yoga exercises 3 times a week. So like I said in the beginning, the recovery at home was a bit difficult, but after I have gotten over being confined in my room and I was able to be more mobile and go downstairs again and walk around again, I felt so much better compared to before I had my surgery. And to this day, I am extremely, extremely grateful for the surgery. I would not change anything, even though it was difficult for me to go through emotionally. It was at the end very worth it in my case because it helped so much. I today, 2 years later, do not have any pain. I can do things now that I was never able to do 2 years ago before the surgery. And I feel great. I feel like myself again. So even though recovery was difficult and the process was difficult for me, it was extremely worth it, and I can't stress enough how grateful I am. However, being recovered did for me come with a bit of a price, and I will get into that in my next video. So please stay tuned, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. It's greatly appreciated. And like, comment, and share this video. Thank you so much.